Hey guys, you're about to listen to my interview with Pavlo Ostrikov, writer and director of You Are the Universe. I think we had a great conversation. We touched on some of the production history of the movie, some of the challenges, deleted scenes, all kinds of good stuff. Um, there's a few unexpected surprises in here. Be aware that there are some slight story details, maybe a little bit of spoilers, nothing too serious. But just keep that in mind before you go in. One small thing also, I accidentally called him Pavlov instead of Pavlo a few times at the beginning. I'm so sorry about that, but his name is Pavlo Ostrikov. The movie is You Are the Universe, and it's fantastic. I hope you guys check it out. Enjoy the interview. Hello, everyone. My name is Vin. I'm here with the Cosmic Circus. And today, my special guest is Pavlov Ostrikov. We're here to talk about his new movie, You Are the Universe, which premiered at TIFF a few weeks ago and is soon going to be at Fantastic Fest. Pavlov, I just watched the movie. I thought it was phenomenal. I was absolutely blown away. I had no idea what to expect, but I from the moment, I don't want to spoil, but from the moment you see the explosions, you see a planet, you see some explosions, and it's choreographed to the music. I knew I would love this movie. The way it's so artistic, the way everything is so carefully articulated, carefully coordinated, carefully planned. Really, I thought it was brilliant. Um, there's so much personality in this movie. There's so many. It's so thought-provoking. It's so funny. It's so heartfelt. But this is your first feature film. Can you tell me what was your development as a director? How did you get to this point in your career where you can make such a phenomenal movie as your debut?
First of all, thanks for kind words, and I really like that. I'm really glad that you like our movie. Uh, so uh, for me, it was a long journey to make this movie. I guess 7 years with my producer Volodymyr Yatsenko. But the first step was really a long time ago when I was at university,
Mhm.
and we need to make some short play for students,
Okay.
and that's what I thought about this idea. What if Earth exploded and somebody will be in the space?
Yeah.
And that's all. I forget about this idea, but after that, I become a filmmaker, and I need to come up with some script
Hmm.
for feature film.
Hmm.
And I remember this idea about the space. In that period of time, I just thought that it could be great to make Ukrainian sci-fi,
Yeah.
because it's like a beast for our filmmaking in Ukraine, because maybe it's the first sci-fi in Ukraine.
Probably. I
So
mean, I've
yeah,
never heard of, yeah.
we're a young country, and but it was a disaster to make this happen. Yeah. I thought, why nobody make a sci-fi movie in Ukraine, and now I
Now you
I
know
understood.
why.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, when
yeah.
I watch the movie, I cannot sense any kind of production trouble. When I watch the movie, it feels like it was meant to be this like this. It feels very intentional. It feels exactly like how I think to me it feels like it's as it should be. And what were some of the troubles that you had?
We tried that. Audience don't understand the troubles
Yeah.
of this making or filmmaking of this movie. So the trouble is, our budget is
Hmm.
lower than 1 million. I guess maybe 800 of 8,000.
8,000. Okay.
800,000. Yeah,
800,000.
yeah,
There
yeah,
we go. There we go.
yeah. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all
uh,
right.
uh, the problem was to build the set, because
Hmm.
we built it 5 rooms of
Okay.
our ship, also some exterior parts of the ship. Um, we need to create the space suit,
Hmm.
the whole world. and also the CGI
Yeah, of
was a
course,
big problem
the VFX.
for
Yeah.
me, and uh, uh, it it was like 3 or 4 years just to make CGI shots,
Okay.
and it's ridiculous because it could be more quickly if
Hmm.
we didn't need to make these CGI shots. And also the war, because we started shooting in 2021, and we almost finished the main part of the shooting, but
Hmm.
Russia invaded Ukraine,
Yes.
and we needed to stop shooting. And also, we didn't think about movie at all in that period of time.
Oh wow. So
Uh,
you put the whole movie aside.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I guess maybe for a half
Hmm.
a half year. So uh, we hope that we finish the movie in March of 2022.
Right.
But we reshoot some scenes in autumn 2022 and on the start of 23.
I'm
And
amazed.
also,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a funny story, but funny sad story because we wanted to bring French actors
Hmm.
in our movie,
Hmm.
and she wanted also, but after invasion, it was a long process to bring her in Ukraine, but she finally decided to go.
Oh wow.
But yeah, in that time, Russia launched the first massive attack on energy facilities,
Hmm.
and she said that she doesn't want to die,
Yes.
and our story is ended
Okay.
like this. We had to bring Ukrainian actors
Hmm.
uh, who was in England in that time,
Okay.
but for her it was okay to go to Ukraine. And so the Catherine, the French character in this movie is like a appearance is Ukrainian actress, and the voice is a Belgium
Okay.
actress,
Okay.
Alexia Depiker.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
another one. It's
Mhm.
another one.
But
So
I'll be honest with you, like watching the movie, I think you could make it work even without seeing her. I think you could,
yeah, yeah,
but the fact that you went through all this trouble to get her in the movie, I think it's really satisfying at the end. Because like his journey in the movie is to meet her. And the fact that
yeah,
that was reflected behind the scenes and you really had a journey to find a Catherine. It just for me that
yeah.
adds like a whole extra layer of appreciation for this movie. Wow. Wow.
And also, we recorded the voice of Catherine
Mhm.
also at a distance,
Yeah.
because Alexia was in Belgium and we was in Ukraine,
Mhm.
and we recorded her voice like this, and it was like a surrealistic kind of a movie in movie.
Wow.
So.
Um, Maxim, the robot, was he also recorded remotely, or was there some kind of voice on set?
No, it was okay with him because he's in Ukraine. He
Okay.
served in army, but we got a permission to get him to studio, and it was easy. The Ukrainian part, it was easy for us, but when we need to do something extraordinary like a CGI
Uh-huh.
or French actresses or some crazy shots.
Uh-huh.
So it was a big problem.
The CGI looks really good in the movie. It really looks good. It doesn't
Yeah,
look like you were on like some very tiny budget. It looks professional. It really looks great. I wanted to ask you about the sets. When I was watching the movie, I noticed, well, first of all, you have this robot and you have these wonderful spaceship set. And the robot is moving around from the ceiling.
yes.
on set, did you actually have some kind of physical robot? And is the robot actually moving like this? Or is that some kind of like digital effect?
Uh, no, about robot, it's completely realistic
Uh-huh.
on the set,
Wow.
but with some tricks.
Hmm.
With some tricks. It's animatronic, and it could move like
Three 360.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Also with hands, the full set of hand, but the move on set, like basic move from left or right,
Hmm.
it was made by group by crew,
Okay.
so it was like analog, um, like physic move, not
Hmm.
digital.
And when he's moving along the ceiling, because there's some shots where you can see him hanging from the ceiling and moving.
Yeah,
So
it's real. It's
wow, I'm really amazed.
real.
So for that, was it like some kind of remote control, or do you have crew on top of the set moving him from above?
We had a crew on sailing.
Okay, on the
Uh,
ceiling. Okay,
yeah,
but it. Mhm.
but everything else, it was remote control.
Okay, so really, you used many different effects to make the robot come to life.
Yeah,
And the movie, it feels seamless. It doesn't feel like you're trying all these different tricks. It feels like it's a real robot. And I that's why I asked if it was even if it was a digital effect because it was just how did they make this real? But you really went old school. You did the old-fashioned effects, and that's why it looks so good, right? That's why this robot
yeah.
really works. I mean, even if you think about Star Wars, like you have, when you have a practical Yoda, when you have practical on set, it works so well. One of my
And
yeah,
uh, before that, I read Christopher Nolan that he also liked these old tricks, old physical
yes,
effects. Uh, but I in that time I really like the CGI, but after that movie, I understood that I also liked the old school
mhm,
because it's more realistic, and you see on the set how it will be, and it's great for directing, and it's the best. Like mixing with this CGI and physics effects is the best way to do sci-fi.
yeah. And in my opinion, when it's done well, the practical effects always look good in the future.
Yeah,
Digital effects
yeah,
might look terrible in 20 years, but practical effects will always live up, I think. Um,
yeah.
but what's really interesting about this movie is you have this great sci-fi premise. The idea is so science fiction that you have this, he's the last man in the universe, lost in space. He has a robot companion, but at its core, this is really a drama about like loneliness, depression, hope, and like what keeps you alive through the impossible. Um, I mean, when I watched this in my head, I had the Ukrainian war in my head. So it's amazing to me that you wrote and directed this before the war, even, because it's such a strong story about hope and persevering through this impossible struggle. Um, for you, what movies did you take inspiration from? Did you look at space movies or did you look at dramas or what kind of movies did you take inspiration from?
Um, I have some references, but some reference we found after we started this movie
Sure.
because it was a long process. So basically, Interstellar was made uh, before after I wrote the first draft,
That was
and
10 years
when
ago. Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I the first idea it was. Came to me in 2011
Oh my
at
gosh.
university. So,
Ah,
yeah. But Interstellar, it was a great reference for visual parts of the spaceship. I like this concept that this spacecraft was made with some old parts of
mhm.
the planes or whatever. And also, I really like the low budget film Moon.
Yes.
And
Yes, with Sam Rockwell.
maybe, yeah. I guess audience will see some similarity with Robot Gertie and our Robot Maxim, and also the one man in the movie. And also, I like the old cartoon animation Mary and Max.
Oh yes,
Did
yes, the stop motion, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that one's
yeah,
great.
yeah. This story about two loneless and they communicate at a distance, and it also has a base story of our story. And I guess her because we don't see Catherine, our character, and also in this film, her we also don't see.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
And actually, while I was watching this, I did think about her because the similarities are clear. But what I really liked is that in this movie, it's not because it would have been so easy to have he's the human, there's a robot, and he falls in love with the robot. Instead, the robot is just his buddy companion, and he's falling in love with a real human across the universe. And during the movie,
Yeah.
I was even questioning, is this a human or is this an AI? I didn't know. But the fact that he believes it's a real human, and the audience thinks it's a real human, that connection to me feels more real than a connection with an AI. That's an interesting concept, like in her, but that's a different kind of movie. That's a different kind of emotion. The fact
Yeah.
that even in this modern movie, this modern world, but you kept it a human talking to a human, I really appreciated that because that is why we watch movies. That's why we care. Human stories, right? Not a human
Yeah, of
AI.
course.
So even though you have the robot, but the robot is just his buddy, it's not his love interest. And I really, really appreciated that. Um, I have to say, this is an incredible one-man performance. How did you find such a talented actor with such a powerful range of emotions, from comedy to romance to heartbreak to depression, everything? This one guy, it carries the whole movie. And for me, I think it had more emotion than Interstellar or Moon, your references. This movie was so emotional just with his one performance. How did you find this guy?
Yeah.
Volodymyr Kravchuk, is that right?
Volodymyr Kravchuk.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was difficult for us to find the right actor for this role, and we looking for this actor, I guess, 2-3 years,
Mhm.
because when we started pitch this story, we understand that we need to find this actor immediately because
Yes.
it will be a problem for Ukrainian filmmaking because in Hollywood you could come up with some actors. In
Yeah.
Ukraine, it's difficult to find. But Volodymyr, it's my friend, and that's why I um, didn't think about him on casting
Mhm.
because when you know somebody, it's difficult to imagine him in this role. But our casting manager, Alla Samoilenko, invited him without my permission, and it was a miracle
Uh-huh.
because I saw him in performance,
Mhm.
and I realized that that's that's him.
Was it
He is
difficult?
our guy.
Was it difficult directing your friend, or did you fall into like a very natural director-actor relationship?
At first, it was difficult, but when we start rehearsal,
Mhm.
it was a blast because he was fully prepared for this role, like in body, in mind, and he um, believed in me,
Mhm.
and it was helpful for me because it's my debut film, and his support was really important for me, and it helps the movie also. And without him, it would be another movie. And I wrote another character, more older,
Mhm.
uh, more different.
Okay.
But when I saw for Volodymyr, I changed this character in the script.
You can really
Uh,
feel like his soul in this movie. You can really feel that it's him. It had to be him. But of course, you can also feel your stamp as the director with the style and the humor and everything. So I think it's just this perfect marriage, this perfect blend of your two contributions, I guess, to make this movie what
Thanks.
it is. Uh,
Thanks.
I
One
really
note,
appreciate. Yes.
I just want to say that Volodymyr is more comedy actor in
Okay.
Ukraine,
Okay.
and that's why I didn't recognize him for this role because it's more like a drama character. But it's like an old story that comedy actors is
Hmm.
more dramatic actors than like a drama school actors.
Yeah.
So it
Maybe
helps.
that's because you have to understand timing and humans so well
Yeah,
to be a good comedian.
it's like a mix of comedy and drama
Hmm.
living in Ukraine.
Yeah,
But that's why I don't believe in drama movie.
I agree. Yeah.
It's always a comedy in the saddest story in the world.
Mhm. And like honestly, even this movie, I think that's why it's so important that you have drama and comedy together. And that's what real life
Yeah,
is. It's depressing sometimes
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
hilarious sometimes. That I think you need both. You can't just be serious all the time. And I think that's one of the faults that Christopher Nolan has. He really struggles with romance and comedy, and you
Yeah.
nailed it. You do it so well in this movie. The science fiction is second. The drama and comedy are first, and the human is first. I really liked the contrast of the personalities between Andre and Max and Andre and Catherine. Because he's kind of a more quiet, introverted, self-reflective, I guess, and both of them are so chatty. Both of them talk so much and have such strong personalities. Um, but it really creates a great dynamic when he's interacting with Max or when he's interacting with Catherine. Um, I think it was just brilliantly written, just even on the page or as you rewrote it while directing it, just brilliantly done.
Thanks. Thanks.
I wanted to ask, what were some of your favorite behind the scenes moments? Did you have any favorite bloopers or anything that maybe we can't see on camera?
I guess one moment, it's not like a funny one, but it's just a story that I remember. Uh, we wanted to shoot the first scene, and of course, uh, nobody nobody knows about this scene because
Mm.
we get rid of
Yeah.
it on editing.
Okay.
But it was a difficult technical shot with a flying camera
Okay.
and camera flying through a window on the spaceship,
Okay.
and we see all rooms behind the Maxim who is moving through spaceship,
Uh-huh.
and we did I guess maybe 40
Oh my
uh,
God.
40 shots
Uh,
or how
Takes,
it's
40 takes.
called. Yeah, 40 takes, and it just was like one day from our budget because it wasn't on editing.
Uh-huh.
uh,
Did you ever get it to work or did you just throw it away?
yeah, we threw it away on editing because it was another story. I
Yeah.
don't know why. Maybe it was more like a sci-fi
Hmm.
start, and our story, it's not like a sci-fi. It's a
Yeah.
story in space,
Yes.
but not about the space.
Exactly. It's a more emotional, human, intimate. It's not very
Yeah, yeah.
big and showy. Yeah.
And it was realistic also the whole shooting because we shot on old studios
Hmm.
like in Soviet era studios,
Okay.
and it was surrealistic to make a movie about the future in the studios from the past, and but it was our reality
Yeah.
on that days. And also, I remember this feeling that we know that Putin
Hmm.
uh, want to invade Ukraine,
Hmm.
but for us it was like a stupid idea, and
Yes.
we keep going on shooting, and nobody cares about it. And on the day of the invasion, I need to go to studio to take a spacesuit,
Mhm.
and so we have some plans also for shooting on this period, and yeah, surrealistic time.
I mean, I can even imagine probably you might have even been planning to start maybe around COVID and 2019 going into 2020. So then you had the COVID crisis, and you're like, oh, that's probably the worst of it. And then
Thanks,
just two
God.
years later, just 2 years later, probably after you finish all your prep, and oh, what a nightmare, right?
Yeah. But thanks to God,
Mhm.
I, s- I think that it could be made only in the past. It's
Yeah,
difficult to see another sci-fi in Ukraine for 5 years, I guess,
yeah.
ahead, because our industry is like a low priority
Mhm.
in the government in that period of time, and it's okay. But this type of films, it's it could be problematic to see on festivals in future, I
But
guess.
I'm really glad that this got made, especially given the circumstances of and given the circumstances now that because I think this is such a strong statement. I think like when you see a movie like this and you see it's from Ukraine, you can't say, oh, well, that was the end of it. You say, no, 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 no. Ukraine has to make more. There has to be more like this in the future, right? Because this is such a strong statement. This is not, oh, remember the old days. This is inspired. And this tells you that Ukraine has this power to make great science fiction movies. Because I've seen science fiction movies, low budget, and they're not always very good. But this movie, genuinely, I loved it. I really, really loved it. And I couldn't
And
tell you that this was made on, through all the circumstances you said. I could have thought this was made in Hollywood, maybe. It's not, this grand, giant 3 hour science fiction epic. But I think that's its strength because it's so small, it's so intimate. Like you said, like Moon. And Moon is one of the great movies. And I think this is Ukraine's response to Moon, and I think I loved it. I really loved it, and I think you should be very proud, and Ukraine should be very proud of what you guys have created.
thank you. It's such a kind words from you, and I hope the wide audience in the world will see our movie because it was made for that.
Mhm.
Uh, to share with audience, to share with humans, with people from other countries. And somebody told me that this story is like a pass of Ukrainian to the West
Yes.
because our character is Ukrainian and another character is from France.
Hmm.
It's a it's remind him this long journey Ukraine to join the West to civilized world, and I'm glad that the story is alive and it could be interesting after these long years of making.
It's really a phenomenal story behind the scenes and on camera. So great job. What are you working on next? Do you have any ideas yet?
Uh, I want to survive.
Yeah.
This my my main goal.
Mhm.
I have some ideas,
Mhm.
and I have a script about Greek gods,
About what?
which Greek gods.
Greek gods. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, maybe you will see. Maybe you see the serious chaos.
No, but I've heard it's great. I've heard it's really good. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. It's a pity because I have a similar story,
Okay.
and I don't know what to do with this. But maybe after 7 years, everyone forget
But
about
I'm sure
the.
also you will bring your own unique spin, right? You'll bring your own stamp to it that will
I
keep
hope.
it
I hope.
distinct. Yeah, I'm sure you will.
So this is a musical
Mhm.
about near future.
Okay.
the main character is the professor of Greek mythology
Hmm.
who lost his wife,
Hmm.
and we see the start of the movie when the giant falling from the sky,
Okay.
and it's a Christian god,
Okay.
and he was uh, he was thrown away by Greek gods who returned to the earth, and the main character understood that if Greek gods is real, that it has to be underworld somewhere. So he wanted to return his wife
Hmm.
from the underworld,
Hmm.
and it it will be in post-war Ukraine,
Okay.
and maybe this underworld could be not in Greece but in Ukraine, because we lost so many people,
Hmm.
and the topic of loss is so important for us. We need to somehow make movie about that,
Hmm.
um, to live with this topic and understood it. So I guess it could be interesting.
Almost
Also, I
like
like,
a memorial almost.
yeah, I
Hmm.
like this magical realism,
Yes.
and uh, um maybe with more rough reality,
Hmm.
it could work better to tell rough and bad bad news,
Hmm.
bad reality in more interesting way.
Sounds fantastic. I hope we get to see that Sunday because I would love to see that. Where can people follow you on social media? Do you have any social media handles where people can follow you and
Yeah,
your updates?
yeah, of course. Pavlo Ostrikov. I You could find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. What else?
TikTok?
TikTok? No, not yet, not yet. But maybe after a year. I don't know.
We'll see. All right, Pavel. Well, this has been a blast. I really love this movie, and I'm very proud of you and proud of how it came out. I think this was a great conversation. It's so great to meet you.
Thanks, thanks. I really like it, and thank you for your attention. And I'm glad that you like our movie.
Oh, I really genuinely mean it. I love the movie, man. Great job.
Thanks,
All right.
thanks.
Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye. Good luck.
Bye bye.